Welcome back, my dear sweet friends. This is the channel Frugal Money Saver. My husband Paul and I are an early retirement, debt and mortgage free couple living in the state of New York, and we just welcome you into our home. Our videos basically show you how to live a full abundant life while spending less money. Today's video, it is a little bit of a personal video. We're going to go visit Paul's parents because it is his mother's 89th birthday. But the main chunk of this video, we are going to talk about frugal hospitality. So if you are new here, click that button, come on in and be part of our frugal family. Hospitality is coming back into vogue now. After everything that we have been through these last couple of years and prices rising in restaurants and dining out, we're bringing the entertainment to our own homes. So how do we do that and still keep our budget, make our guests feel super welcome and super appreciated, and have a great time and not put too much stress on ourselves? Well, we're going to cover a whole bunch of these topics today. The first thing I want to ask you is, what do you think hospitality is? And I looked up the actual definition of hospitality, and it says it is the generous and friendly treatment of visitors and guests. Well, I would have to agree with that, I think. It's making others feel welcome, whether it be in your home or taking your hospitality to someone else's home. We're going to talk about that today as well. So let's cover first the lies that we tell ourselves about hospitality. So many of us are hesitant to have a guest over for a meal. Why is that? Well, I could give you a ton of excuses that we tell ourselves. Our house isn't nice enough. We don't have enough seating. Our china doesn't match. Oh, if they came here, they'd probably be bored. These are all non-truths. Most people would love any type of invitation. And I think the problem is sometimes we put so much pressure on ourselves. Now, I'm not talking about big parties here. The level of hospitality I'm talking about is intimate hospitality. Maybe a couple, maybe a family, maybe one person, things like that. I'm not talking about a giant party. So how do we go about this? The first thing is keep it simple. I can't emphasize that enough. Simplicity. You want to be the type of hostess that once your guests are seated, you're not jumping and hopping up every 5 minutes to go get the next course, to clear their plates, to make the dessert, to toss the salad. No, we've got to keep it simple. So the first thing we're going to do is plan our menu ahead. We have to have a menu in mind before we practice hospitality. Now, it could be as simple as potato chips and dip, a piece of pie, and a cup of coffee. That all qualifies as hospitality. But let's say we want to do just a small dinner gathering. So we need to plan our menu first. I am going to give you a super simple, economical menu for any occasion. The first course I would tell you to do, I know the word is going to sound fancy, but it is as simple as you will allow it to be. A charcuterie board. And that is basically some cut up bread, some fruit, maybe some nuts, a little spread like jelly. Super simple, delicious, and you can use what you already have in your home. Arrange it with care on a platter, set it out, put some little forks, and everyone helps themselves. Your main meal, what do you serve? One of the most economical meals you can give to anyone is pasta. How do we elevate a plate of pasta? With homemade marinara sauce, maybe some basil, garlic, fresh tomatoes. Absolutely delicious. You could do a fettuccine alfredo with just some heavy cream and Parmesan cheese. Keep it simple. And then on the side, nothing more than a lovely tossed salad with some fresh greens, tomatoes, maybe some cucumbers, a perfect accompaniment to the pasta dish. And this is going to cost you very little. For dessert, I'm going to bring in the good old standby of coffee, tea, and some simple cookies. What a perfect way to round out the meal. As far as a tablescape, use what you have. Keep it simple, mix and match patterns of dishes. Don't feel like you have to pull out your best china. 9 out of 10 times, I wouldn't even recommend that. Everyday tableware is perfect. The charcuterie board, pasta sauce, the salad, the cookies, all these can be made ahead of time. So basically all you're going to end up having to do is boil the pasta and brew a pot of coffee. You want your guests to feel relaxed and comfortable. Another great way to entertain is a theme. I love theme nights. Paul and I do movie nights. We will have someone over, pop some popcorn, bake some cookies, and watch a fun movie together. Do you know the money we just saved if we had all piled in our cars and gone to a cinema to see the movie? So much better at home. And again, this does not have to be on a grand scale. I'm talking about family members, a close dear friend. Now, what happens in a situation like ours where my mother-in-law and father-in-law are a little bit older and they're not able to get around as easily as they used to? We live on a mountain, so them coming here and climbing our steps out of the question right now. Now we need to bring the party to them. So what we did is we pulled our ideas together, created a gift for them, which is homemade strawberry jam, which I am going to show you because now it's strawberry season almost, and they will be in abundance. But I used these with frozen strawberries I had in my freezer from last summer, if you can believe it. And it is magnificent, easy, and no pectin. Then we baked them a faux Black Forest cake. Now, if you are German and you know a true Black Forest cake, this is Emmy's version of it, so it may not be up to par with yours. We're gonna get in the kitchen and we're gonna make my faux Black Forest cake. Believe it or not, this is one of my mother-in-law's favorite cakes, dark chocolate fudge. But what we're going to do is mix it up. Instead of a cup of water, we're going to use a cup of milk. Instead of a half a cup of vegetable oil, we are going to melt a stick of butter. We're going to ramp this up and make it our own. I have some cherries. We're going to whip some whipped cream. We're going to make a chocolate ganache. This is what I'm hoping will be a really yummy Black Forest cake. So our substitution of 1 cup of milk instead of water. The 3 eggs. And the half a cup of melted butter that has been cooled. Now we're going to mix this on low for 30 seconds. Wipe down the sides a little bit. And as usual, cake batter's flying. It's who I am. Now I'm going to mix it at medium speed for 2 minutes. Cake is all incorporated. I have 2 9-inch round cake pans. And I grease them with my butter wrapper. And I am just going to divide this among the 2. I'm going to pop them in the oven for about 24 to 29 minutes and we'll check them. But I'm going to check them at 24 minutes just to see how they're doing. I took these out when the toothpick came out clean. Now I let them cool on a wire rack for 15 minutes. I'm going to remove them from the pans and let them cool completely on the wire rack. Let me tell you, one of the greatest blessings is when people come to your home and they buy you store-bought cakes, cupcakes, cookies, and they come in these plastic containers. Keep them, save them. This will be perfect to transport her cake in. Let's assemble our Black Forest cake. I'm going to build it right on here because I just think this is going to be easier. Put the first layer down. Now let's go make some whipped cream frosting. We're going to whip 2 cups of heavy whipping cream. until we have whipped cream. Keep an eye on it because you don't want butter. You can see it's not done yet, but it is getting thicker. Now I'm going to add about a 1/4 cup of powdered sugar, and we're going to continue whipping. So this literally went 30 seconds more, and you can see how perfectly firm this cream is. I have a can of cherry pie filling. That is what I'm going to use for the cherries. I'm going to link the recipe I loosely followed down below. You know me, I tweak everything. So I put the can of cherries in. What I'm going to do is add about a teaspoon of almond extract, because I think the almond and cherry are just an amazing flavor combo. I'm just going to mix that in. We're just elevating this. We're making it special. We're making it our own. Oh, I can smell that almond. I took a cup of whipped cream out that we just whipped. I'm just going to put about maybe a 1/2 cup of the cherries into this whipped cream, and I'm going to fold them in. So we are going to take this whipped cream and cherry mixture. Again, I told you this is a very loose version of a Black Forest cake. It's an Emmy version of a chocolate cake with cherries. There you go. And we're going to put this in the center. Now I'm going to put the other layer right on top. This is so fun. I'm going to take the whipped cream we have, and I am going to frost the sides of the cake with it. Just using an offset knife, and we are going to go around the whole cake with the whipped cream. But we are not going to use it all. We're just putting a thin layer. Because Paul did such a great job on my birthday cake with the piping, I am asking him to do it here, and he again is doing great. We're just using a little plastic sandwich bag. He cut the end off, and he's just going around this cake with the whipped cream.
Yeah, she's gonna love this. This is like right up their alley, especially, you know, being at that age, they don't get out much, so anything homemade, fresh like this is a blessing.
Now I'm going to take the cherries, and I'm going to put them in the middle of the cake. We're going to put the juice on there as well, because that's going to seep into the cake and just make it delicious. Look at how beautiful. Is this perfect? Absolutely not. Is it going to be delicious? Absolutely so. I also took out a couple of cherries, and what I'm going to do, just put them around the edges. And then I'm going to show you the final touch on this cake, what we're going to do to send it completely bonkers over the edge. We're going to clean up the edges too, no worries. But now I'm going to show you the last thing we're going to do. Ganache is one of the easiest things to make, and it dresses up any dessert. In this bowl, I have about a 1/4 cup of chocolate chips, maybe a little bit more. And then in this pot, I have a 1/4 cup of heavy cream heated through. And I'm going to add that right to the chocolate chips. And I'm not going to touch it. I'm going to cover it for 5 minutes and let it sit. Remove the lid after 5 minutes, and you're going to take and whisk it. Scrape down the sides. Keep whisking it until it's silky and smooth, which is only going to take about a minute or two. Now, the great thing about ganache is it sets up. It doesn't get rock hard, but it sets up. So now what we're going to do is let this cool slightly, and we're going to drizzle it over the top of my mother-in-law's cake. And now I'm just going to take this ganache, and I'm going to just go over the top of the cake with it. Let it drip down the sides. How beautiful is this cake? You know what this would be great for? Father's Day, Mother's Day, 4th of July. We have so many fun holidays coming up that this would be perfect for. The cake was phenomenal. That box cake mix tasted like we went to a bakery and spent about $30 on it. Just so good. Now, what we want to do with you now to show you is how to make some strawberry pectin-free jelly. Paul and I talked about it, and we didn't know what to get my mother-in-law. So we're making her the cake. We are going to get her a bouquet of flowers from a florist, and I know that will bring her such joy. And then I have some strawberries that have been in the freezer, quarter lemon, little sugar. We're gonna make her some homemade strawberry jam. This is not shelf stable. It has to be refrigerated. I think both of them will enjoy this immensely. So we're starting out with a pound of strawberries. I had frozen them last summer. I had taken the stem out of each one, froze them individually on a tray, and here they are, beautiful. And then I'm gonna need about 2 tablespoons of lemon juice. The recipe did call for 1.5 cups of sugar. Way too much in my opinion. I am going to start with 3/4 of a cup and we'll go from there. This should be really easy and hopefully very delicious. I cut up the strawberries and I'm putting them into my saucepan. I specifically wanted a recipe that didn't use pectin. I don't have any pectin in the house, nor do I buy pectin, so I want to find a jam recipe that would be okay without it. We're gonna add our 3/4 cup of sugar, and this is very important. About 2 tablespoons of lemon juice. This helps in the thickening process. And I bet it's going to taste absolutely delicious with the strawberry as well. So I'm just gonna start to cook this down till it comes to a boil. Before it gets too hot, I'm going to emulsify it just a little bit with my immersion blender. I like to leave it a little bit thick. It's nice to get those little bit of chunks of strawberries in it. If you don't have an immersion blender, you can use a good old-fashioned potato masher. Works perfectly. So now we're going to bring this to a boil and we're going to let it boil 10 to 15 minutes. This has been boiling about 9 minutes, 10 minutes. We have to go to 15 and you can see that it's definitely getting thicker. You have to keep stirring it because you don't want it to scorch on the bottom, and you can see it is doing beautifully. It smells like summertime in here. So delicious. So we're just going to keep letting this cook, but I just wanted to give you a peek at what it looked like after about 9 minutes. This was on a low boil for 15 minutes, and you can see how much thicker this got. This is how I test my jelly. This plate was in the freezer for about 20 minutes. I take a little bit of it, I put it in the middle of the plate, and I'm going to stick it back in the freezer for 2 minutes. So this was in the freezer for another 2 minutes. There's no liquid here. If it wasn't done, liquid would be dripping down. I'm going to take my finger. That's done. So I'm going to turn it off and I'm going to let it cool slightly on the stove. So I'm just using this wide mouth funnel to put the jam into this clean, dry jar. This came out perfectly. That wide mouth funnel was given to us by a friend who visited Lancaster. I always get in trouble because I say it wrong. And that wide mouth funnel is just amazing. Now remember, this is not shelf stable. It has to be refrigerated from now until you finish it, which should be within about a week because that's how delicious it is. So I am going to put this in the refrigerator now, and this will be part of the gift. Just to make this a little prettier, I cut a piece of fabric I have. I always keep little remnants. I tied a little piece of twine around it. It just looks so pretty now. Just a little something to add to her gifts. It came out so well, and they were so thrilled with it. I can't tell you. My mother-in-law was like, oh my goodness. Now what we want to do with you now is take you along just for a few minutes and have you come and visit with my mother-in-law. I know it's been a while since you all have seen her and you ask about her all the time. So let's go a quick visit to celebrate her 89th birthday. Look at these two. Do you like your flowers, Mom?
Yes, I love them.
You look beautiful
They're so
today.
pretty.
And how old are you going to be tomorrow?
Tomorrow I'll be 89.
Wow, God bless you. You look so good.
Thank you, sweetheart.
I'm going to be 79.
Oh, please.
Not yet, but someday, you help make it a beautiful holiday for me. Celebration.
Aw, just
And
glad to
thank
be
you
here
very
with
much.
you.
There we go.
Did you make a wish?
Oh yeah. I wish for nothing but happiness, goodness for everyone here and those who aren't here. Yummy, yummy.
See what this inside of this cake look like.
Yes.
Beautiful. Oh yeah, this came out good. We wish my mother-in-law a very happy 89th birthday. May God bless her and keep her. We thank you so much for spending this time with us. This video basically just shows how we can give back on our frugal journey. It doesn't have to be a lot of money. Presentation, thought, effort. These are the things that matter. It's not about the money. It's about spending time. And that's what we want to emphasize more than ever. And please, I want to just say this before the video ends. If you do not feel comfortable gathering because of health reasons, then by all means don't. I'm not telling anyone to gather. Please know that. Now, our question for today is, what is your go-to meal, snack, theme, party idea that you go to that is tried and true when you have people over? Please share it down below. What's your go-to menu? Do you pick a theme and watch a movie and have coffee and get? What do you do to entertain? Please share with us, because it not only encourages us, as we say all the time, but you encourage each other. And we have the best viewers on YouTube, hands down. So thank you again for spending this time with us. We ask that you please give this a big thumbs up, hit that subscribe button if you haven't, and leave us that comment. Please remember to be safe, stay well. We appreciate you, we love you, and above all, we wish you blessings. Until our next video, bye-bye.